SAPC. SAPC. Thanks. Go, 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 go. Sorry, where's the press briefing happening? Sorry, where's the press briefing happening? Okay, where's platform? Where's platform one? Platform one.
Smoking is prohibited in covered and partially covered. Metro rail passengers, please be advised that we have daily random ticket verification accents and all upstation trains. Traveling a valid ticket or in Metro Plus with a Metro ticket is an offence. Offenders will be prosecuted.
This way. Facing you, eh? Facing that way.
Safety of all passengers. Please report any
But
broken
don't,
doors.
whatever happens, colleagues, please don't fall there. It becomes a safety issue. It becomes an insurance issue. It leads into all the other things. I beg you, please watch where you're walking on the other side.
CEO, don't tell them about insurance.
Yeah.
Let's move it back.
The Metro rail.
Minister?
Oh, let's make space there. But they're complaining that there's too much light.
Let's make use of our support.
Yes, we can start.
We've been on the road, guys. We need to go out to another engagement. Let's go.
Okay. Good morning. I'd like to begin this morning's press briefing by acknowledging members from national government, the Minister of Transport, Minister Fikile Mbalula, members of the provincial government within the Western Cape, the MEC of Mobility within the Western Cape, Mr. Dalen Mitchell, as well as the Police Oversight and Community Safety Representative Advocate Kagiso Krai. I'd like to welcome the MMC of Urban Mobility, Mr. Rob Quintus, the ESO of Urban Mobility, Mr. Dirk Linder, the MMC for Human Settlements, Councillor Malusi Boy, ward councillors that are present here this morning, members of the media that are here this morning, but most importantly, welcome to the people of Cape Town. And thank you very much for joining us this morning as we conducted an oversight on the resuscitation and the recommencement of the railway line within the Central Line on the first phase of it coming back into operation. I will now hand over to the Acting Group CEO of PRASA, Mr. David Mpelo, to give a technical overview of this morning's oversight conducted. Thank you very much, Mr. David Mpelo.
Cover your nose and mouth with a mask.
Honorable Minister, MECs, MMCs, all protocol observed. Minister, we started our trip this morning to show the recovery of phase 1 of our Central Line. And as we promised, our phase 1A was the segment that started from Cape Town through Pinelands to Langa. The schedule was meant to stop for 20 minutes at Langa stations as a connection point wherein we'll take a train from Langa to Belleville. So the Langa to Belleville, which we just completed now, is what we refer to as phase 1B. The phase 1C, which we still haven't showcased to the minister, is the one that starts from Langa to Nyanga. And that, because of the security incident that we had a few weeks ago, has been delayed by almost 8 weeks. So phase 1C will come in 8 weeks' time. So Minister, yes, I know that in this trial, we've had to experience a few of these glitches and snags, and I must acknowledge that on behalf of PRASA and the team, and also apologize for that delay. Maybe to highlight the beginning of the problem, Minister, is that it's showing that we can easily collaborate on the recovery thereof. But it is something that is not ideal, and I must acknowledge and apologize on behalf of the team. We also then experienced what Raymond on board explained with the power trip just before we got into the station. And that as well has led into this delay that we have. But in the 2 weeks trial that we're going to run, Minister, is to look into that and what causes that and the root cause analysis. And we give the technical team time to resolve some of those. So we're looking at resolving that. It's not the ideal. But Minister, without delay, This is phase one and phase 1A and B that we've now recovered, and we're looking at working on that and making sure that it runs smoothly going forward. Parallel to that will be the modernization that comes after that, recovery, Minister. And without further ado, Minister, may I then request the Minister to come.
Thank you very much to the Acting Group CEO of PRASA. CEO, there's a program. So the program states that we'd like to request the MEC for Mobility, Mr. Dalen Mitchell, to just give some remarks on the project in regards to the rehabilitation and the rebuilding of the railway line in Cape Town in particular. Thank you very much, MEC.
Right, good afternoon, everyone. Minister, MMCs, my colleague from the legislature, the chairperson of the Standing Committee of Transport and Public Works, members of the media, all protocol observed. You know, when I woke up this morning, I was very excited to get onto this train because it's a big day for the citizens and the residents of Cape Town, because we've been working tirelessly between myself and the minister with the city of Cape Town to make sure that today happened. So when we arrived and the first delay happened, I was like, is this actually what the citizens of this province will experience going forward? You know, with COVID and over the last 2.5 years, with the increase of petrol prices, the citizens are the ones that suffer the most. Once upon a time, the railway system or the railway service was the backbone in this province and in this country. We are now with the situation where we're down to just under 200,000 commuters that are able to use this very, very valuable and service, in particular into the economic or the economic recovery of where we are as a country. To the employer to say, you know what, I was on time, but the service that government of their lives, what could have been a child that couldn't get to school today. So I am hopeful that the glitches will be sorted out, and as Minister, as we always say, we'll come back and we'll come and look for ourselves, and we will experience this after this 8 weeks, or as the Western Cape government from the beginning have said, we will support PRASA, we will support national government to ensure that we get the trains back on track. When it comes to public transport and economic opportunities, there's no politics, there's no different spheres of government. We make sure that we deliver to the citizens, and it will be I will work tirelessly to ensure we hold PRASA accountable, but ultimately that the citizens of this city and the citizens of this province will benefit from the service that they are entitled to. We're not doing them a favor, they are entitled to. And Minister, you made a comment earlier on, the commuter pays for the service. So we have an obligation to ensure that that service that they are paying for are being rendered. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much to the MEC of Mobility in the Western Cape, Mr. Dalen Mitchell. I will now hand over to the Minister of Transport, Minister Fikile Mbalula, for his statement on the oversight conducted this morning. Thank you very much, Minister.
Thank you very much. First, thank to the media for accompanying me and my team for the promises we have made. And thank you for following our story and for giving us a platform to communicate hope to the commuters of this country. Today we are in the Western Cape. I also want to thank the MEC for coming with us on this journey. And I want to thank Mr. Boy, MMC, and MMC Quintus, my friend I'm always with on the ground. MMC of Transport in the Western Cape, brand new from the box. He's got many things on his plate. He wants devolution, he wants this and that. Whenever I invite him, he comes. So to me, he's genuine in what he wants. When I launched the rail policy, he was in Johannesburg with us and representing consistently the city of Cape Town what they want. So I know what he wants. So Malungelo, Malusi boy malungelo ndimthatha phi. Malusi is helping us with regard to relocation. That's our next step, where we are going. And then we've got Leonard Ramatlakane, the chair of the board, and also the acting group CEO of PRASA. I'm hard on the PRASA management because I think they can do better. But I want to thank them also for doing this job. But they are not where I want them to be. And I know that among them, there are people who are sleeping on the job. And they are very exciting individuals within their management who show passion, knowledge. So we don't run short of skills in terms of what we are doing. When you look at the short guy, Raymond, and what he was explaining, he's a complete engineer. And the story of Raymond is important because Raymond was born and bred here in PRASA. And he was raised here in PRASA to be what he is today. This is the quality we've got at PRASA in the form of Raymond in terms of his engineering skills. So we are here now in Capetown, in Belleville, to witness the resumption of what we call the limited service. Today we're doing what we call a trial run. And in the trial run, we have seen a lot of challenges. The service have begun. We started in Capetown to Nyanga, Nyanga to Langa, from Langa to Sarepta, Sarepta to Belleville. And then we stopped at some point for the longest period because of electricity trip that the CEO have explained. The trains are running on electricity, not on diesel. There are other challenges that we've got of criminality and all of that. You would have seen the work that has been done to try and get people off the rails. It's not complete. The minimum service is back. And then PRASA under Mr. Caparo in the Western Cape, I've raised my concerns in terms of this trial and what they need to do. And some of the things will require us to be back in 2 weeks to see to it. There is some engineering technical work that is going to be done. But what is important is that the trains must run on time. You could see the excitement. We passed the school, young kids at school seeing a train after 2 years. The excitement. We're going to be moving them there. The deadline is November. Unless we have changed David, because the changes in the So it's still November. November, those people you have seen will be gone. And then the train heavy in terms of security. There are people as early as today who are planning to stop us from coming. That's why you see a lot of policemen, not to guard me, but they were saying they're going to stop the trains. And then Raymond have explained, as we do this work, we pick up people for employment. But we know it's not our people who want to stop the trains, it's the criminal element for their pockets. Okay? And then things must not happen, they must be stopped because trains must not run because they demand this and that. We have put more than 110 people to work on the recovery of this. You can't have 2,000 people working on this. So there's a lot of work that is actually been done behind the scenes. And I want to thank the PRASA staff, and I want to thank the community who have come to the party in terms of enabling us to get this going and who are in support to our work. Lorenzo is one of them. I blocked him, I unblocked him today because he says some things that I don't like sometimes. And then I block him there on Twitter. But he's one man who's been very much in the front to promote the work of trains here in the Western Cape, doing a marvelous job and following up on our story of recovery. This is a story of reconstruction and recovery. But as we recover, we've got work that we had started of reconstruction of PRASA. You will see at a technical level that the stations are not balanced. When you jump into the train, there is a big gap. Now you think of the people who are disabled. That is the modernization program that stopped here in this place because of state capture. That is the modernization work of upgrading of stations that has actually stopped. New trains will be running on the new trains. Istimela Sabantu is running at 120 kilometers per hour. You would have seen that you still have the seats that you have in the first train. And David says that they rip apart the train to do, what? Pam pam. It is not pam pam that why they rip up the seats. It's because work is being created for somebody to get work for the seats. And it's easy to do to fix the trains. Some of the trains did not have the doors, some of the trains did not have the windows and all of that. So the trains must be fixed all the time. South Africa, the change of gear. There are other lines that we should be capturing back. They don't have to wait for another one. But that story Raymond was explaining to me from an engineering point, how does this thing work of a corridor per corridor, line by line, actually work? From what I want all corridors to erupt. And I need leadership in this place. And I want to repeat it, I need leadership. If I come back here, why are you here? So don't speak when I'm speaking. I'm speaking to the media, you are speaking behind me. You scanner for me behind me. So do not scanner me, man. So what I'm saying is that I want this work to be completed within September and October. And it's going to happen. If it doesn't happen, because I've told you that this is what I want to happen. Secondly, it is the PRASA management. I don't see why we can't meet our deadlines. We've got to meet them. Today, it's the big day in Cape Town. To have that train with all its fault, it has been explained in Zwile Kaparo. You have explained a whole lot of story why things happened the way they happened. And Dalian speaks about this. I know he's making a case for the government of the Western Cape. You want the trains at local government level. I will give you trains if I want to, but it's a policy question. And the MMC of Cape Town, I've told him, and we're still going to have a meeting. At the present moment, the issue is an issue about leadership. And you can see the work that has been done. We are getting here, Northern Line has been captured. It's back, it's operating. Southern Line, I took you, it's back. We are now battling with the big elephant. We've got a limited service today. And then by October, November, the whole of the Central Line must be back up and running. From here, we are going to see the parcel of land. We'll be moving people from the areas that are encroached. And I want to thank Malusi for his support. Local government, he will speak for himself later. About the parcel of land and the work that they are doing. They are doing a fantastic job. Fantastic. Donald Trump. They are doing a brilliant work with the national government in terms of the land that we will be moving people to. So we are very much on track. And people must prepare themselves to work here at PRASA. Nobody is going to dismiss you. But I am not going to allow to keep people who are not adding value to our work. Those who have been here on fraudulent basis, I've got an appointment with you through Ziveze. If you know that you came here and you were sneaked in and you are not supposed to be here, you are going to go. And Ziveze is going to visa you in terms of this place. So there's work going on. We are hard at work here at PRASA. And we are not going to be smiling with anyone going forward to get the trains back. And my last point is the one that says there is state capture. We are going to be responding, and we have responded to the president about what needs to happen. Beyond just state capture and commissions of inquiry, I'm also going to add to my colleagues Begitele and Lamula to help me with a specialized team to get the work of PRASA. David, if we do what you are doing here with your team, there's no reason why we can't meet the deadlines. What I don't want is lies. Not what I want. Make the minister look good with lies. I'm happy to see the glitches we saw today in the full view of the media. It shows that you did not prepare a script. You did not prepare a movie. Those things that happened, if they happened because they had to happen, because there are teething problems getting the line back, you need to fix them going forward. But if you prepared a movie, you would have come here, everything, no glitches, and then tomorrow, Lorenzo will be saying the train that the minister was riding yesterday has stopped forever, the following day. So fix what we have seen here. Normally in my culture, there is what is called wishes. Now, not even in my culture, but African muti. So if you were planning to tell us lies, umuti unibambile today. Because this thing where it must be fixed. So I'm happy about that, and we are looking ahead to exciting times for the Western Cape. So Loazi, take over, and we can entertain questions, and then we move to the land parcel, which will be our last journey since this morning. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Minister. Colleagues, I'd now like to open up for a round of hands. How we'll run the Q&A session is that we'll just have one round. Before us, we have the Minister of Transport, we have the Board Chair of PRASA, and Tate Lenald, it's such a tongue sister, Tate Ramatlakane, and we also have the Acting Group CEO, Mr. David Mpelo. So, colleagues, if you'd like to pose questions, please do state the name and surname as well as the question you are posing. And if it is a directed question, if you could just state also who it is directed to and just state the media institution that you're representing. So we'll just open up for a round of hands. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's all. Okay. Thank you.
Atule Joga, SABC News. Minister, firstly, what is the total cost of the taxpayers' money that will be used to rehabilitate the service line and the central line? And also the second question, it's about the resource allocations. We know that in the central line and the southern line, people perceive it as very safe, and then they are concerned about safety in the central line because there's so many police and security personnel in those lines as compared to this big elephant that you're speaking about. Thank you.
The money that we announced here was over $1 billion to recover the central line. As to the total cost to date, David and the board can account for that. That goes also for the extra costs in the delays of the project and all of that. And the president announced that the central line and Mabupani will be presidential projects. So central line is a presidential project. So we are recovering it. As you would have seen this morning, you were here when we announced that July 26, we will come back to show you the limited service. So you have seen the limited service. and its glitches, which will be fixed, as we have been assured by the management of PRASA. We will come back to see the line fully operational. There are stations that have been upgraded in Bela, as you have seen, and all the other stations that affect the two institutions, Pentec, former Pentec, which is CPUT, as well as the University of Western Cape, which is running on this line, and Sarepta, which is transporting the working class in the main. You will see that the glitches are not major, they are minor. And there are teething problems that must be addressed by the technical people, but we'll be back. In 2 weeks, those stations will be up. We'll be back to see the progress that has been made, and we have been assured that it will. And we can see that that is possible. Our anger and our insistence that it can be done, if somebody is not sleeping on the job, all of these things will be met on record time. And that is what it is going to happen. Security, PRASA can respond on that. Our security plan is completely different now. You say in those lines that we have opened, security is higher, and yeah, it must be. It must be. Even in the limited, there is a short man here, they call Alex at PRASA, and David can respond on that. The security, I've raised also with them that must be responsive in this line. Next question.
Thank you so much, Minister. But my name is Atula from Capetown TV, but my question is for PRASA Board. And it's about the security measures. One of the other reasons that led to the closure of the services was cable thefts and vandalism. So what are the security measures on place to prevent the same that has occurred? Thank you.
Okay, maybe to go back, the repair work to date, just simply on the OHTE, the electrical work, and the payway to date, we spent just over 400 million rands. But there is signaling work that we still need to do. I think we've communicated before that we had spent just above 1.2 billion. So we're at the last leg of re-signaling this environment that was ripped apart during lockdown. So we're still we're still looking at managing that below 2 billion rands, and we're not going to go over that. We're going to manage it tightly, and that's where we are. And as far as security is concerned, we've taken a blueprint of the integrated security plan. It's a hybrid model between the insourced and also the outsourced. So we've got our own boots on the ground that we've hired, and we're complementing that with outside companies. But without diving too much underneath, it's going to carry the K9, it's carrying the big patrol, it's carrying technology at a later stage, both cameras and drones at a later stage. But for us, we're not going to put technology first before we get the people to respond to what technology is going to pick up, because we do need people to respond to that. But it's going to be aggressive and intensive, and we've seen that working where we've opened the corridors. Salisville is running, not a single incident. Mawopane is running, not a single incident. And we're looking at bringing the same blueprint in this environment as well. But the one last thing on the security side is that when we're busy repairing, the service providers are taking that and they manage that. At the handover point, we then put our own people as part of that, and they start learning how to do that. When the service providers retract, our own people then take over that security. But we're working jointly in collaboration with the other institutions of security, intelligence in the picture, the police in the picture as well. So we have to collaborate to manage this thing. It's not only an attack on PRASA, it's an attack on ESCOM and all the others that have got this low-hanging fruit of copper. But in our space, more syndicates that would want to get our services down, and we're going to fight it head on. Thank you.
Ronald Masinda, Eyewitness News. Question to PRASA and also the MECO member for Human Settlements. I'm going to start off with PRASA, just in terms of, can we determine how much ticket prices will cost? And will this be a profitable business? Because it has struggled in the past to be a profitable business. And then, Mr. Boy, what reassurance do we have that people will be removed from the central line? Because they have been defined.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. I think the commitment that has been demonstrated not only by ourselves as a city, but also by PRASA, by HDA that is also here, province and also national. And I've been chairing meetings, Minister, for the past 3 weeks to make sure that there's proper coordination. So to relocate those people who are very much committed to, we have purchased land through HDA where we've paid 15.7 million, including transfer fees, which is part of the phase. We'll be relocating people in Langa under the ESCOM servitude and also Bekela in Philippi. The other phases, which include Kailicha, we'll be taking them to Makassar land, where HDA is doing negotiations with the private owners. So that should be done in the next few weeks. And in total, we are anticipating that for bulk, for phase 1, which is Philippi, we're looking at just over 400 million. And there's been a commitment from Minister Kubai. And also for phase 2, a similar exercise for bulk systems, so that those people whom we relocate, they can be relocated to a better settlement. Thank you.
Ronald, to your question, we bought tickets this morning. Cape Town to Langa, 8 rands. Cape Town to Belleville, 14 rands. That's what it is, and that's what it is. So will it be profitable? It has to be profitable. I guess one thing that we need to acknowledge is we are a 3B entity. We've got 2 mandates. One is transporting people, which is a subsidized component, and the other one is generating revenue out of the assets that we own, which then brings in this whole ticketing plus our own real estate where we need to bring money. But to carry the operations, it has to. Is that something that's going to happen on a flick of a switch? Not really. We are in a recovery mode, but we're working towards that because we now need to go and manage the efficiency of the system and the operations itself, plus manage the cost underneath as well. But it has to be.
My name's Aisha Ismail. I'm from ENCA. My one question is to Minister Fikile Mbalula. And Minister, you were saying earlier that you know what Rob Quintus wants from you. Will you give him what he wants? And my second question would then go to Mr. Boy about what guarantee, and also to PRASA, what guarantee do you have that other communities won't go and settle on PRASA railway lines in order to get houses? Is there a guarantee that this won't happen? Because you're now setting a precedent by resettling communities who have settled on PRASA land.
We have to resettle people is by law. The law in this country, Malusi can explain it better than me. It says that if people have resettled and allowed to resettle like they did, we've got a court order that is in our favor. But for us to move them there with scope and donor, we've got to give them land. We can go now and move them and get everybody on side, police, everything to move them. But the law says we must give them a piece of land. So that's how it is in the whole of the Republic. Otherwise, PRASA, we are not in the business of resettling and settling people. Our job is to get the trains running. So to resettle them, that's why we work with Malusi, we work with Kubai to resettle people. Will I give him what he wants? It's based on a number of things. In terms of the policy, it says that in terms of devolution, there is a particular process we need to follow. But at the present moment, he explained to me, he didn't write a letter to the Minister of Treasury. He should write to me and ask me, Mbalula. They are going to say I'm a narcissist. But he explained to me, the MMC, that we will have a meeting, but he will also would like to do a feasibility study and then we will take it from there. So we'll have a meeting with him and also look at the devolution and all of that and make a determination about what needs to be done. And if it comes to us and show us that this thing is doable for the city of Cape Town, we will sit around that. At the present moment, we are really looking at the trains to get the trains moving for the country and in the central line and everywhere else in the city. Next question. There's no question. Thank you very much. Let's move to the next. Lwazi would like to thank you. He's our new spokesperson. She doesn't have many platforms, so I must introduce her for you here in Cape Town. She has replaced Ayanda. I didn't dismiss Ayanda. She just decided to leave greener pastures. So we have got another Ayanda. Lwazi watinta bafazi watinta imbokodo. But she's young. You are jealous.
Thank you very much, Minister. But thank you very much as well to the board chair of PRASA, the acting group CEO, the member of the Western Cape Provincial Government. He has, however, left us. The MEC, thank you to the MMCs that are present today, to the councillors, but more especially, thank you very much to the members of media. We hope that you will relay our story in a positive light as what we had anticipated. Colleagues will now be moving to the land pocket as stated by the Minister. There is transport that is provided, so there are combis that are outside. However, before we leave, we are requested to just enter this boardroom here on my left-hand side to please just grab a little pack because we are aware that it's been a long day for us all. So if you can just grab a pack and we head out to the land pocket. Thank you very much.